Imagine that you hire the world's best salesperson. They were sharp, they were confident, and they know your product cold. You put them in front of a room, and that room has no lights, no microphone, and a soundproof wall between them and every potential customer in that room. That is what your website looks like in 2026. Gorgeous and totally ignored. Not by humans, but by the machines humans now ask before they ever even find you. So today we're talking about LLM readiness. I'm going to explain what that stands for. And before you check out, because that sounds like something your developer made up to charge you more, stay with me because this is the thing most brands are going to wish they knew about 2 years from now. In 2025, people started doing something very, very interesting. Instead of Googling best project management software and clicking through 8 tabs, they just started asking ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or whatever AI assistant lives on their phones right now. And those tools gave them an answer immediately, a recommendation. Sometimes it even ranked the list by your particular order. It knows you. And here's the uncomfortable part. If your website isn't structured for LLMs to read and trust, you're not in that answer out. You're not ranked number 4. You're not buried on page 2. You're simply non-existent in that conversation. So today we're covering what LLM readiness really means and why your website probably isn't ready and what you can do about it without burning the entire thing down and starting over. Okay, so what does LLM really stands for? Well, it stands for Language Learning Modules. And what that really means is your website is structured so AI language models can 1, find your content, 2, understand what it is that you do, 3, trust the information you're presenting, and 4, confidently surface it when someone else asks a relevant question in their AI tool of choice. This is not the same as SEO, because SEO optimizes for ranking in a search index. LLM readiness optimizes for being cited, referenced, and recommended inside AI-generated answers. It's a different game with completely different roles. You can also think of it this way. Google is a library catalog, and LLMs are the librarian. The catalog shows everything, but the librarian only recommends what they understand and trust. You want to be the book the librarian recommends, not just the one that is technically just sitting on the shelf. Most websites were built to impress humans scrolling on a desktop or a phone. Big hero images, animated transitions, a headline that says something like, "We help brands unlock their potential," which, cool, love the energy, but here's the problem. LLMs can't see your beautifully optimized animation. They're reading the text underneath it. And if that text is vague or jargon heavy or structured like a corporate brochure, which we see all the time, the AI has no idea what you do and who you do it for. Because LLMs pull from content that is clear, plain language that states exactly what you do. It's structured, organized in a way that machines can parse. Headers, define sections, clean hierarchy, and is it credible? Backed by specific proof, not generic claims. And last, consistency. The same story told the same way across your site, your content, your web, social, everything. If your homepage says, "We're a full service agency passionate about growth," but your About Us page says, "A team of creative dedicated to your vision," and your service page says, "End-to-end solutions for a modern brand," well, the LLM reads all 3 of those and concludes, "I genuinely have no idea what these people do," and it moves on to the next brand that just plainly says, "We run paid media ads for e-commerce brands doing $1 million to $10 million in revenue." Boom, specific, and it wins every time. When an AI is deciding whether to reference your brand, it essentially is running a quick gut check of its own. 1, does it clearly explain what they do and who they serve? 2, is there a specific proof that this works? Numbers, case studies, all that sort of stuff works great. 3, is the information consistent across the site? 4, is this cited or referenced anywhere else on the internet? This is where backlinks actually matter. That last one matters more than people realize because LLMs are trained on patterns, and those patterns spread across the web. So if other credible sources, publications, directories, PR news, partner sites, if they reference and link back to your brand, that's the social proof the AI uses to calibrate its trust. This is why PR, thought leadership, and genuine third-party mentions aren't just vanity plays anymore. They're LLM trust signals. All right, now we're going to talk about the structured stuff, the part your developer actually needs to hear. because here's what LLM readiness looks like from a technical standpoint without making your brain hurt. And let me preference, I'm not a developer, I just know a few in our office. Okay, first, schema markups. This is code that tells search engines and AI tools exactly what your content is. Are you a business, a service? Do you have case studies, an FAQ? Schema gives it a label. Without it, the AI is guessing. Next, page hierarchy. H1, H2, and H3 tags. These aren't just design choices as much as they've been pitched that way. They're about how machines understand the structure of your content. If your page headers are all over the place and used purely for aesthetic reasons, the structure breaks. Another one that's super helpful is FAQ sections. Genuinely one of the most underrated LLM readiness tools on a website, and it's actually the quick cheat code to an LLM's heart. When you write, what does your blank service include, and then answer it clearly right on your website, you're basically handing the AI a pre-formatted response card. Super smart, super easy to do. Okay, next is clean, crawlable text. If your key message lives inside an image or a video embedded or a JavaScript animation that renders client-side, AI tools often cannot read it. It doesn't exist according to the LLM. So, put the words in the page, not just in the design or the graphic. None of this requires a full rebuild. It requires a structured audit and intentional updates. Think of it as editing your site to be understood, not just admired. Okay, a quick test you can run right now. Well, maybe when this video is over, but go to your AI platform of choice, let's choose ChatGPT, and type in, what does your brand name do and who do they work with? If the answer is accurate, detailed, and confident, golf clap, nice work, you're in reasonable shape. But if the answer is vague, wrong, or I don't have reliable information about this company, that's your gap. And that gap is costing you consideration from future buyers who never even make it to Google. All right, here's the thing nobody wants to hear. You can't schema markup your way into LLM credibility if the content underneath it isn't even worth citing in the first place. LLMs recommend sources they've seen referenced, discussed, and trusted across the web. So that means your blog posts, your case studies, your thought leadership, they're not just SEO assets anymore, although they do work for that, but they're now also raw material that AI models use to understand whether you actually know what you're talking about. In 2026, the question isn't how many blog posts did we publish. It's when someone asks the AI about our category, does our content come up as the answer? And that requires content that takes clear, specific positions, answers real questions your buyers are actually asking, and is detailed enough to be useful. So not fluffy and not to be ignored. It needs to get shared, links, and referenced by other sources. This connects directly back to what we talk about in the conversational SEO videos. Written for humans asking questions, structured for machines extracting exact answers. Same principles, just higher stakes. All right, that was a long video, but we're gonna bring it all home. Your website was built for a world where humans were doing all the searching, and that world does still exist. We still optimize it for it, and so should you. But right next to it, and almost more important to it, is the new world where AI is doing the first pass, the recommending, the filtering, and the summarizing, before your buyer ever lifts a finger. So if your site isn't built to be found, understood, and trusted by those methods, you're not in the conversation. Full stop. But the good news is, most of your competitors haven't figured this out yet either, or they're still working on it. So the window is still open, but here's your action plan. Run the ChatGPT test on your brand right now that I mentioned a few minutes ago, audit your homepage for the clarity, and add AI examples where you do it in one sentence. And add the schema markup if you haven't already. Build out some FAQ content on key service pages, put it right at the bottom. Create content worth citing, specific, useful, positioned content. And of course, can't end a video without saying, at 77 Collected, this is exactly the kind of infrastructure work we do inside our Launchpad and Visibility Booster engagements. Because a great looking website that's invisible to AI is just expensive art. And pretty doesn't pay the bills. Thank you so much for watching. We're always so appreciative. Please share this with whoever runs your website. They'll either thank you or be mildly offended, but either way, it should be productive, and we will see you in the next video.